For 2024, we have some returning names, new faces, and an exciting list of team drivers in Formula Sprint 2. First is Scuderia Cap Clay. Don't let the name fool you, these guys are no clay pigeons. The highly rated Finnish team picked up 4 wins and 8 podiums last season, on their way to 3rd in the team's championship. After 10 years in GPV, team owner Mikael Tuomala took his first victory in Race 2 at Silverstone last season, on his way to a best ever 5th place in the Drivers' Championship. Alongside him is vastly experienced British driver Tom Parker, who won at the Nürburgring and Suzuka in a part season for the team last year. The former F1 esports driver is seen by many as a dark horse for the title. KV86 powerhouse. Christian Vadzar's team had a strong debut season in FS2 last year, taking 4 victories and 9 podiums on the way to 4th in the team's table. Finland's Noah Tuomela had a strong FS2 debut with the team last year, taking breakthrough wins in Montreal and Singapore on the way to 7th in the drivers' table. His teammate Patrick Magnusson joined the squad partway through the season, and Iceland's finest came away with a hard-fought win at Monza on the way to 11th in the points. Priority 1 Esports. Hailing from the island of Guernsey, Priority 1 is the brainchild of Williams F1 fan and lead driver Craig Patterson, who's been competing in GPVWC since 2018. They were 6th in their debut season last year after finishing on the podium 7 times. A race winner in FS1, Patterson has been very consistent in FS2, but is still seeking a way to turn Priority 1 into P1. Joining him will be Finnish teammate Jonas Kaurala, who made his debut for the team last season, his best result being 2 8th places in Abu Dhabi behind teammate Patterson. Optiminal Esports. The Dutch Optiminal squad has been around for a few years and ran Maxime Beaulieu to the runners-up spot in the driver standings last season. They were only 7th in the team standings, something team manager Remco Dezeo has sought to rectify by Italian Massimiliano Riboli, who took 2 race wins with last year's team's champions Alva Sierra on his way to 4th in the drivers' table. His teammate is Norwegian Magnus Ockenhaug, who had the 4th fastest time pre-season testing and scored a podium at Spa last year on his way to 8th in the drivers' table. Hutt Performance Engineering. Former Frisland and Sun Edits racer Dan Hutt started his own team in 2023 and led them to 10th in their debut season, thanks to the efforts of Ockenhaug and some consistently solid points from Dutchman Hutt, who returns to the lineup once more. Joining him is Academy graduate Bobby Vakuinov, who regularly excels in reverse grid races and took an impressive victory in Montreal's reverse grid race, along with a podium in Abu Dhabi. You can never count out the Bulgarian's aggressive but tidy racecraft. Reading Game Studios Racing. Tom Dillon's Reading Game team has long been a stalwart in endurance racing, but hadn't won a race in 4 years before making their bow in FS2 last season. That changed with Mateusz Pishkan's reverse grid win in Monza, which helped the team to 11th in 2023. With the pole getting a promotion to Superlights, countryman Mateusz Majka has donned the white and blue overalls at short notice. Majka was an impressive 3rd in pre-season testing, just under 2 tenths off the pace, before even more ominously winning the opening 2 academy races in Bahrain, sensationally beating Alessandro Maggio and Caitlin Penny. Joining him will be Czech driver Dan Hayek, who really came alive in the final 4 events last year and is seeking that elusive first podium. Scuderia Freccianera. Luca Tisano's Italian team, whose name translates in English to Black Arrow, placed 13th, largely thanks to the efforts of Vakuinov. This year, it's all changed as Academy top 4 finisher Filip Chavinsky is given a full-time seat after some cameo appearances in 2023. Joining him will be British driver Luca Gray. A race winner in 2022, Gray endured a difficult 2023 season. However, a podium in wet conditions during the season finale in Brazil showed that he's lost none of his skill and shouldn't be underestimated. ST Racing. Mark Fuller's team has been on a bumpy ride since its debut in 2010, and last year they slipped to 15th in the team standings, sole bright spot being Joe Gillette's second place in the reverse grid race at Abu Dhabi, one of only 3 top 10 finishes they managed in the season. Serbian driver Mihailo Vincentijevic is retained for his 4th season and is still yet to score any points for the squad, a stat he'll be looking to rectify this season. Joining him will be Geeks Energy team boss Mike Teichmann. The Mexican returns to the cockpit for the first time in 2 years and will be very eager to use his vast sim racing experience to show the rookies how it's done. Team RNG. Tony Nitzpon had a great 2023 as the team analyst for Ferrari Esports. Just don't remind him that his team RNG squad finished 16th and last in FS2 last season. Lewis Dyke's reverse grid win at the Hungaroring was a rare moment of joy in a season of pain for the team. However, the Polish team have rolled the dice and hired 7-time FS2 race winner and 2014 runner-up David Junt to lead the lineup. The Swiss driver was on the podium in substitute drives at Baku and Nürburgring and will be hoping to finally secure a title. In the other car will be Poland's Jakub Kalbacik, another FS2 winner returning from a year's sabbatical from GPV. He'll be hoping that the odds fall in his favour this time round. Friesland Racing Team. After 3 unspectacular seasons in FS1, Gerrit de Vries' Friesland squad finds themselves back in FS2 for the first time since 2020. The team has gone for 2 relatively inexperienced drivers in Mateusz Sokolowski and Nick Kuiper, both of whom were promoted from Academy in the middle of last season and have a few points finishes in FS2 to their name. Poland's Sokolowski is definitely the more spectacular of the 2, with Dutchman Kuiper being a little more measured. They'll both be hoping they can have a good enough season to start Friesland's climb back up the career ladder. Smile Power Racing. No need to feel down, Smile Power is back in town. Experienced Englishman Mike Bell returns his team to the GPV ladder after a year away. Bell did impress in his academy season last year, taking 2 reverse grid wins and was very quick when he subbed in for Kings Racing at Singapore last season. Bell's headline skill is his defensive driving. All of the FS2 grid lives in fear of being trapped behind the Mike Bell train. Joining him will be German Bjorn Golda, who has a few academy finishes under his belt and also drives for Bell's team in the Virtual Sports Car World Championship. He'll be hoping to keep his team boss grinning from ear to ear like the Cheshire Cat this season. Apex Grand Prix. The first of 4 new teams for 2024 is run by Italian Domenico Scarpelli. Apex GP made headlines in pre-season testing at Mugello when their drivers topped the timesheets. Fastest was Britain's Oliver Taras, a double race winner in Academy who showed a lot of promise in part-season drives in 2023. His teammate will be Finland's Jesse Lahtinen, also a winner in Academy and very consistent. He showed great improvement towards the end of his FS1 season last year with Friesland. Both could pull off some shock results for the new squad. Hunter Birch Simulation. Commentators Ed Hunter and Joshua Birch have decided to enter the GPVWC career ladder after previously winning the EERC British Touring Car Championship, ironically enough with Mike Bell at the wheel. Their star signing is Joe Gillett, who has 4 Academy wins to his name, as well as an FS2 podium with ST Racing at Abu Dhabi last year. The Englishman was also 6th in pre-season testing and is expected to perform well. Alongside him is British-Bangladeshi rookie Tawhid Ahmed, who had some promising performances in Academy last year. The bosses certainly talk a big game, but can the drivers back it up on track? Excellion Motorsport. After taking 3 victories last year, on his way to 3rd in the FS2 points, German Roy Seifert has started his own team looking to take ultimate glory. Leading the charge is Seifert's former Red Ven racing teammate Jörn Dix, who won the reverse grid race in Saudi Arabia last season. Joining him will be fellow German Florian Haase, who won the reverse grid in Bahrain for Optimal last year, but otherwise had a difficult season where he struggled for results. Can he excel with Excellion? Hello everyone, and welcome to 2024. This is GPVWC, and this is Formula Sprint 2. That was our wonderful intro video put together by Edward Hunter. We have a couple of teams that we have left to read out, as well as we see a blown engine as practice is coming to an end. The first team that we just need to go through is 01 Esports, which is David Wasserman's team. And here is Oliver Scharke, who drives from... David Wasserman walked on water in Brazil to win the final race of last season. Now he returns and starts from zero as a team owner. This is another all-German lineup. Maxi Giesinger, who scored points for Zortax Racing in 2022, is joined by Oliver Scharke, a rookie in GPV, who placed 21st in the test, 1.2 seconds off the pace. It's going to be an uphill struggle for the new boy to go from zero to hero. And finally, we have GPVWC Academy, who are rounding out our 16-team field. And Menno Klont's Academy team gives drivers from GPV's entry-level tier a chance to show what they can do in FS2. They will start the season with two English drivers, James Knox, who has scored 3 Academy podiums so far in 2024, and Josh Dexter, who scored reverse grid wins in Monza and Brazil last year. And I'm joined today by Alex Foulkes, and on cameras we have Vincent Gutt, who is trying desperately to find a GPVWC Academy in the background. There he is, Josh Dexter. So yes, thank you, Ed Hunter, for that wonderful intro video. We've just completed the practice session, so we are moving straight into qualifying. Alex, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate having you here. You looking forward to the season?
I think we all are. It's been quite some time since we've seen the cars out on track. I don't even know if it was December or November that we last saw them. A lot of new teams, a few more than we were expecting after Alpha Sierra left us, obviously, and I think VMS moved up to Formula Sprint 1 as well. So it's quite an interesting season, a lot of new faces, especially with the teams and within the teams as well, with 01 being the new outfit, and also Alice Stone and all the other new drivers, and Mike Bell, Small Power. It's going to be exciting, and it maybe might see a bit of a shake-up rather than the usual Luke Mitchell dominance.
Well, I mean, Luke Mitchell's moved up to Formula Sprint 1 with his team Lunark, so obviously wish him all the best. But yes, so we will have a new champion in Formula Sprint 2, which is great news as far as I'm concerned. We have a whole host of cool liveries this season as well, which will take a couple of races for you all to get used to. We are looking at the Excellion one, which is a nice one to look at, actually. Thanks, Vince. One I put together. So keep an eye out on these guys. These are new. We are looking at Alice Stone, as you said. Florian Haase and Jörn Dix are supposed to be driving that car. I actually can't see which one of those two is missing today. I think it's Haase, yeah. Florian Haase is missing. So as the cars head out for the first time in 2024, I love that the date says 2023 in the top right.
And I don't have my name. So.
But trust me, we are in 2024. I'm excited to see who's going to be on pole. And there's a lot of drivers out there that could take it. Early running in practice, Jesse Lahtinen was top of the timesheets, Alex.
Yeah. There's been a lot of drivers that have been putting a lot of time and a lot of effort into actually practicing for this race, and a lot of time spent on setups. Obviously, it's a new car for everyone. Apart from the visual change of the smaller tires, we've got completely different setup rules, and how you set up the car is going to be completely different, because I think it's for all of the series where they've got a bit of a physics tweak. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah, no, that's right, yeah.
So that's actually going to benefit some people, obviously, and for others it's going to negatively affect them. And I don't know how much experience I can attest to this with, but it's been difficult for people to sort of adapt in some ways. A lot of fast drivers last season we've seen sort of fall back off the pace, but qualifying should be the first real test for these drivers, and hopefully we see some new faces on pole.
Yeah, I mean, the form book gets completely scrapped when you have adjustments to the car in the off season, and of course that's what we have. Should very briefly explain to new viewers how qualifying works in GPVWC. So the cars that you see out on track, they seem to be alone because they are locally. So on their computer, on their device, they only see themselves. It's private qualifying. This is to ensure that drivers don't get in the way of each other. You don't have any kind of tactics with slipstream and that sort of thing. But the main reason is obviously with lag. There's a lot of cars out on track at once. It just makes it more fair. And so whilst you can only see one car out on track, trust me, there's another 20 odd, in fact 30 right now, another 30 cars out on track at the same time, probably on the same piece of tarmac. But Alice Stone going out for their first lap, and here we have Micah, who is you can see P2 meant that they were P2 in practice, and Matoush Micah, a lot of people's favourites to be right up at the top of the standings. We will see. Very, very fast driver, and this is purple so far, but of course everyone will be purple. There will be brand new sectors being set, but the first flying lap of 2024, we will see Micah coming around the final corner at Albert Park and heading towards the start finish line, and they will cross the line now, and they go P4 currently, and that soon will be down the list, I'm sure. But Patrick Magnussen for KV86 sets the current fastest time.
Yeah, they were also strong in the practice before the official practice session, the one that gets actually recorded on the website as the official practice session. But there has been a few new rule changes that I kind of want to talk about for this year that have been changed into the 2024 regulations that might change the race significantly. Notably, you've got the breaking the toe rule, the 23.6.1, which means that you can actually weave on the straights as many times as you want, as long as you want blocking, which is a very interesting change, and one that I was quite skeptical of when I saw it being changed and proposed. But I think that might make the racing a bit interesting, and I wonder how many drivers will actually use it, because the drivers have been said, the rulebook says that it's up to the drivers to decide what's reasonable or not. And that's going to be interesting to see which drivers are going to risk actually being penalized for weaving on the straight and not. That's one of the big changes that I think might actually change something.
Yeah, absolutely. And it will be very critical in Formula Sprint 2. You may or may not have noticed, but the rear wing flap is available to Super League, Super Lights, Formula Sprint 1, but not Formula Sprint 2. So we do not have DRS, which means that breaking the toe will be critical for these drivers. There is no DRS. So drivers like, we can see Magnus Hockenhaug now, if you qualify at the front, which Magnus is currently trying to do, all the drivers behind will only have slipstream. So breaking the toe will be critical in what I would say is quite a draggy car, the FS2 car. It does produce, and that was a lovely slide, it does produce a fair bit of drag and therefore dirty air, but also slipstream. So you can draft up to the back of another car in Formula Sprint 2. So breaking that toe will be critical as Hockenhaug abandons this lap. You do have to do the full in-lap and return to the pits manually in all series in GPVWC. So he's going to his pit box so he can go back out on track and start again.
And this is Patrick Magnussen. He was very strong in practice. I'll keep saying this. It was a 6.9. I think he had a 33.69, which is, I think, one of the fastest times we've seen. As I say that, he spins on his outlap, and that might actually end his qualifying. I
was going to say, if his engine goes, he can't get back to the pits from here. No, he's still got an engine. He's a lucky boy, because if that engine had gone, and that's the end of his qualifying, you can't press escape and then go back out. I say press escape, that returns you automatically to the pits. You can't go back out if you damage your car beyond repair. You have to get it back to the pit lane. So yeah, very lucky for Patrick that he didn't lose his engine there. He does get another chance to go again. I've just noticed Yassi Latanen has DRS closed on the back wing. Very nice Apex Grand Prix. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and you mentioned the DRS change. What's also changed, apart from the visual aspect, that the wheels have got smaller, which I think is a very interesting change. That I understand it's probably something to do with the physics, but they just look weird. Because I'm so used to these big beefy tires on the side of these FS2 cars, and now we've got these Formula 4 sort of style tires, and a bit of a shock to the system.
I like it. I think Formula Sprint 2 was probably slightly over-engineered last season. It is kind of the main... I mean, obviously we've got the Academy series below this in GPVWC, but that's really for the very sort of basic introduction to the career ladder. Whereas Formula Sprint 2, you have got proper teams, but it's still kind of the entry level for those teams, if you see what I mean. So I like the fact that these changes have been made. It does make it more just kind of down to earth and more for just the drivers showing what they can do, rather than it be a who can make the best setup and work with the car the best way possible. It's more kind of back to basics, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, but that's also the intention of Academy. From what I can tell, the setups have been restricted a lot more this year, so you won't have as much changes as you would have had last year. So these cars are going to be a lot less setup dependent as they were last year, which hopefully should bring the field closer together. As I say, that 9 tenths separating P1 to P11, and this is closer to what we've seen in Formula Sprint 1. I remember Imola last year was a second between P1 and P20. And that's the aim, obviously, is to make close racing. But you also mentioned dirty air earlier. That's a huge problem for the drivers. It's a lot of downforce loss through the corners, and especially the main corners on this this track. You've got the turn 1 chicane and the turn 9 and 10 chicane.
Yep.
So those are very fast, very high downforce corners that we might see as we see Nick Kuiper. Kuiper? I don't know. Crashing to
Kuiper. I did check with Menno Clont on this one. Yeah, but he's got away with that one because he's right by the pit entry. Lovely Jordan throwback livery there, by the way. There's a few retro liveries kind of coming through in FS2. I do know of a couple. We certainly saw some in the pre-season test. Of course, Priority 1 always runs some kind of Williams-themed livery. I believe this season they've gone for kind of a modern take on it, but usually Craig Patterson runs a retro livery at Silverstone. We did see Oliver Taras top the timesheets whilst we were chatting away then. Taras has been very quick in pre-season testing as well. Keep an eye out for Apex Grand Prix. They have 2 very, very fast drivers.
Yeah, Apex has been... they've consistently been at the top. They've got Yasser Latanen and Oliver Taras, 2 very, very strong drivers in their own respect. Yasser Latanen, I think, at the end of last year was in FS1. Now coming in for a full year in FS2, probably to make the switch to FS1 later on, as we see Patrick and Magnussen fastest in the middle sector, and maybe this could be a fight for pole. 4 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. That's about 2 more laps. Oliver Taras is in the pit lane and will be coming up very soon, but that gap between the top 1 and the top 15 as he does take pole of a 0.861.
Yeah, we're still a couple of tenths off though, aren't we, Alex, from the ultimate lap. I would say the track does develop, it does improve the conditions. Rubber does get laid down by the cars driving around on track, so you do find improvements later in the session. It's kind of why we were chatting away a little bit more earlier in this session, but of course now the track's really ramping up and times will tumble, and Magnussen showing that obviously their pace is very good and topping the current pile, if you like. Apex 2 and 3, and then KV86 is Magnussen's teammates Tuomela is P4 currently, but I do expect all of these guys to improve. As you say, 4 minutes 30 left. You kind of need to leave the pits with about 1:45 on the clock, really, to get that final lap in. So keep an eye out on that.
And like you said, Apex GP in a sort of KV86 sandwich. Patrick and Magnussen P1, Oliver Taras P2, Jesse Latanen P3, and Noah Tamela P4, and only 2 tenths separating them and a tenth between Magnussen and Taras. So it's going to be a close fight in the closing stages of qualifying for that pole position. And obviously, pole position will be critical, but it might not be useful. As you said, we've got the huge split screen changes. We've got Lasse Lattinen fastest in the first sector, plus 1/10 in the middle sector, but that does not put him out of contention. He can still take pole. It's still very much a possibility, and any of these drivers could possibly get onto pole position. Is unable to increase his position, and more than likely, he might be able to get one last lap in at the end of the session.
Well, the question is whether, I mean, he won't be able to do another run, so it's just whether Yasser decides to do one more lap on this current fuel/tyre combination. The tyres do not degrade quite so much as they do in the higher series in this championship, so we'll keep an eye out. You can have a look at the live timings on race-view.com and then navigate to the GPVWC server, so you can see the live timings, which is what we're looking at as well. Taras is set a purple sector 1, which means he is the fastest in sector 1 that we have seen so far. Coming up to the sector 2 split now after the 9-10 chicane, as you said, very, very fast, and it's very tempting to take too much curb and run wide, which he has done. And this lap will not count. I do know for a fact that if you go too wide there, the game penalises you for track limits. So even if this will be an improvement, the game will not allow it, sadly, for Apex Grand Prix Oliver Taras.
Yeah, and that could be it. Unless he does have enough fuel on board to do a second lap, that could... No, he has to go in, but there's still a chance. I don't think he will,
It's not going to happen. Yeah, it's not going to happen because... I mean, he's trying, but it just won't happen, unfortunately, for him. He's not going to make that around that lap in time. Dan Hutt for Hutt Performance Engineering. As I'm sure you can guess, he's the team boss. He is on a flying lap now. Green, so personal best for Sector 1 and Sector 2. Currently P16. Dan's a decent driver, so we'll be a little bit disappointed to be down in P16 right now. Comes through the final corner. This is his final effort of the session, hoping to improve his position from 16th place. He crosses the line and, does not improve. And that was one of those laps where the track limits had alerted him. That's why it went straight away to the next timer. Jonas Karala for Priority 1 does cross the line and improve to P13, just behind Chavinsky. Chavinsky driving for Freccianero. We haven't talked about them too much, but that's the Priority 1 Williams-esque livery I was discussing. Who else have we got out on track right now? Taras is attempting an outlap, but it's not going to happen. Magnussen, purple first sector. He's currently top of the timesheets as well. This to extend his pole time, Alex.
Yeah, this could be an amazing lap for Patrick Magnussen. It's almost guaranteed for him. That might be too wide, though. He has had a lot of issues staying in between, I would say, the white lines, but they're actually yellow around Melbourne. But it seems like that top 4 and that top 5, for the matter, are all in the pits. So only Magnussen here is able to improve, and he is 0.41. He's a 10th up on the best time of the sectors. That's not even his. We saw that Taras got a purple first sector, so this might be an amazing lap time to take pole.
Crossing the line now, he does a 0.719, very, very close to the overall best time we saw in practice of a 0.69. So Magnussen extracting everything from that lap. You could see in the final sector he was right on the edge of that yellow line, as you say, maximizing the track limits. Vakuinov, a driver we expect to sort of be probably slightly higher. Hutt Performance Engineering not doing quite so well in this session as they would like. Mike Teichmann has just improved for ST to P17, saw him jump up the table, as Vakuinov has not improved his middle sector. Magnus Ockenhaug has just crossed the line. He is P10. Ribley, P6. He was lower down in the standings earlier on in this session. Ribley, a very fast driver in his own right, and Luke Mitchell's teammate last season. He is looking to start a championship hunt of his own. Vakuinov comes through the final corner. There's no one else able to improve, I don't think. Just Vakuinov left as he crosses the line now. Does improve his position, but only a couple of spots to P17. And Bobby Vakuinov probably would be disappointed with that. Dan Hayek in 12th is on a lap as well, but both his sectors are not personal bests. He's going to cross the line now Nothing magic, unfortunately, happened for the Reading Game Studios racing driver in the final sector. I can't see anyone else on track who's able to improve. So I think our grid is set, actually, Alex. So Magnussen takes first glory, I suppose.
Yeah, it's first pole of the year, and I think this, hopefully, for the KV86 team is a good precedent. But if we're looking at the times right now, this is going to be an amazing fight between Apex and KV86. Their times are incredibly close. 4 tenths separating the top four. Sounds like a lot of time, but with the slipstream and with the battling, that is going to quickly come down, and that gap is going to be basically negated by the fighting between these cars, and hopefully we should be seeing a good fight for the top 3 positions, the podium positions. Obviously, Apex GP in a bit of a sandwich right now, but
absolutely. So just a quick run through. So Magnussen does take pole for KV86, as you say. Taras and Latin and the Apex drivers second and third on the grid. Noah Tuomela, I have to be careful here, there's 2 of them. Noah Tuomela for KV86 in P4. 5th is Micah for Reading Game. Massimiliano Ribali in 6th place for Optiminal. James Knox in the GPVWC Academy, great position for him in 7th. Didn't mention it too much, but the Academy drivers are not really a team, if you like. So Knox in 7th and 9th for Dexter as well. Brilliant for those 2. Craig Patterson, the experienced driver, Priority 1 Esports, is in P8. 10th place then, rounding out the top 10, Magnus Ockenhaug, the other Optiminal driver. 11th place is Joe Gillette for Hunter Birch Simulation. 12th, Hayek. Chavinsky, 13th position on the grid, and Karala for Priority 1 in 14th position. 15th on the grid will be Mikhail Tuomala. Tom Parker behind him in 16th place for Cap Clay. Those 2, I think, will be disappointed with that session. Those 2 definitely have potential to be higher up the grid. Same goes for Vakuinov for Hood Performance Engineering. We're just talking about him in 17th place. Mike Teichmann, the Mexican, in 18th for ST. Dan Hutt in 19th. And David Yunt, who is very, very quick on his day and nearly won this championship a few years ago, 20th position for Team RNG. He'll be disappointed with that. Oliver Sharker for 0-1. We talked about them just before the qualifying session began. He is in 21st position. Luca Gray for Fraccionera in 22nd. Mike Bell for Smile Power in 23rd position. Kuiper for Frislan in 24th. Scott Morris, Maxi Giesinger, Mihailo Vicentievich, Bjorn Golder, Alice Stone, and Jörn Dix, rounding up the 30 positions. And then we have 2 drivers left. Mateusz Sokolowski for Frislan, who didn't set a time, and Tawhid Ahmed, the other driver, who also didn't set a time. Presumably those 2 maybe struggling with connection issues or something like that. Couldn't get a lap in.
Yep, but I don't know if you saw this while you were reading the results out, but there was a crash between, I think it was the KV86 and a Exalion.
Yes, I did
as we're watching.
I did see that, thankfully, in warm-up.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, that's the best part. The warm-up, you can't actually report people for the warm-ups, so...
Yeah, which I've always find a bit odd. Because there can be some sort of, I guess, emotional damage done in warm-up. You can definitely wind people up. Of course, I mean, obviously any kind of... there is a catch-all rule in GPVWC that if you put any kind of disrespect to the league or any other drivers or anything like that, you can still be penalised. So it's not worth, smashing into people in the pit lane in warm-up. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, so thankfully those 2 will be able to reset their cars and go again. It is, after all, we are dealing with a game. But yeah, this is Albert Park. We are in Melbourne for the opening round. Come back, thank you. Of Formula Sprint 2. If you're just joining us, it's going to be a very fun season, I can imagine. Going to be quite long as well. We've got 16 rounds, and each round has 2 races, 15 laps each. See the information on the screen there. Both of them sprint races, no requirement to pit, nothing like that. Just flat out go for gold, race until your tyres die sort of thing, which is great news for me personally. I enjoy a bit of strategy, but we can really concentrate on who's driving best, I guess, Alex.
Yes, But the thing is, it's not really that the tires ever go. It's more that they get outside of your sort of temperature window and you can't get back to it. What I noticed last year when I was driving in Suzuka, as soon as your tires are overheated, you're just going to get into a vicious cycle of overheating your tires. And I think that's something that drivers with the high track temperature today of 44 degrees should be careful of, and especially with how you have to
44 degrees?
I believe so.
No, do you know what? It's Raceview
48.
says 48. That's very hot, actually.
Yes.
So I mean, we do use real weather, so live weather. So if it rains in real life, it's going to rain in the game. So keep an eye on weather forecasts. Generally speaking, Melbourne is one of those tracks that's kind of at this time of year can rain. Tonight's forecast does show clear, so we do have a nice kind of baseline opening round. We can see who's going to, kind of who the contenders are going to be during the season. I don't know which of the two drivers. Was that Alice Stone, though, I believe, was just running a little bit wide through the final corner?
Because Jan Dix has a helmet, I believe. Yes.
Yeah. Well, they both have helmets, hopefully.
Well, that is usually a requirement for these drivers.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that one. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yes, Jan Dix does have a helmet. You can tell those two apart by the different coloured wing mirrors, by the way. Just a little something that I added into the livery.
You can tell the KB86 is apart because they have a little detail at the base of the halo.
Is that
Different
right?
Colours.
Oh, please, can we see that?
One's black and one's blue. I believe
Wait
it's Patrick Kerr's car that's blue and Tuamela's car that's black.
Love this kind of stuff. Here we go. We're looking at Maxi Giesinger for 0-1. Hopefully Vince can work out which driver we're trying to get to. There we go. KB86 and Tuamela. So Noah's Halo, you're saying?
The base of the halo, there you go. That black sort of rectangle.
Yeah.
That you see the base of the halo in front of the driver. Those are different colors. That's how you can tell. Also, the fact that it says their name on the halo is a pretty.
Oh, but yeah, obviously, yeah, it helps to be able to read. Yeah. But let's have a look at Magnussen's car then. So just to see.
That's Ockenhaug.
No, that's Magnus Ockenhaug. We've got Vince in the background. This is it is the opening round of the season. We're all going to be yeah. So this is blue.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Tuamela and Tuamala are two very different people. Mikhail Tuamala and we have Noah Tuamela. Both Finnish, and I'm probably butchering them. I need to ask someone who actually is Finnish if I'm correctly.
It's Tuomela and Tuomala.
Yeah, but yes, but it's not. It's kind of like yes, but Ockenhaug you can say in an English accent. You can also go Ockenhaug. You know, it's Ockenhaug. You know, David Junt, for example. He's Swiss. He doesn't count. They speak a weird German over there.
It's like a mix of French and.
It's not proper German. He pretends it is, but it really isn't. You should hear him. If you know German, it's just chaos listening to David Junt. He was my co-commentator for a few rounds of Superlights last season, and we were discussing this off air, and yeah, he was trying to justify his German to me, and it's just not. It's just weird. We do have. It's great to see all these different nationalities here. We actually have a. I believe I'm gonna have to get this right, but I believe it's Bangladeshi English.
Oh,
hello, Luca Gray.
What happens there?
In fact, that's Ockenhaug who has decided to set fire to his car. That's a big crash. Tawhid Ahmed is, I believe, Bangladeshi English, which is nice to see. I don't speak Bangla. I wish I did. It's a really cool part of the world. There's also the Bengal region, the Bengali language is very similar, I believe, if not identical, just a different. Why are we talking about language in the warm-up? This is why I like warm-up to just be a chat session.
Whatever, exactly.
We can just,
it's a podcast.
It literally is, until we get into the racing. Here's Tawhid Ahmed, who I really hope I've got that roughly correct.
Sounds accurate.
Close enough, hopefully. I will ask him to tell me if I got it right, and we'll correct it. In fact, that goes for anyone who watches this broadcast afterwards. if you're Sokolowski and you're like, no, that's not quite right, please try this way, then I'll change. No drama.
Yeah.
I do like to get it right.
Being right is always a good thing. I'm just still questioning how the crash at turn 1 has happened.
Well, I don't think we need to see a replay. I can imagine there's been a little bit of nonsense going on. This, you have to remember, this is the intro. So this is of our 4 teams leagues, if you like. So Formula Sprint 2, Formula Sprint 1, Super Lights, and Super League, which is our premier top level cream of the crop championship. Obviously, the drivers kind of should improve as you go up the leagues in terms of their like overall ability and pace. So sometimes it can be a little bit more informal for Formula Sprint 2 and 1, and a little bit more serious in Super League. I certainly, if you watch any of the, if you go back onto our YouTube channel, which is a great repository for all broadcasts that GPVWC has done, and there's some cracking races in there, by the way. Last season, certainly in Super Lights, I was a bit critical of some of the Super Lights drivers last season because it's the second division. But I'll be a bit more friendly to these guys, I think, Alex.
Oh yeah, but you have to say that the driving standards in Formula Sprint 2 have not been great. Flashbacks to Italy. I needn't explain more for the people that know, but for the people that don't, a huge pile up. That's all that needs to be said about that. Rather worrying, actually, after that.
Yeah, that was chaos. Did you see Italy 2022, by the way?
No, but I drove in 2023, which was scary.
I drove in 2022. As it goes at Monday. Feel free to watch that on YouTube because I actually won. I won race 1.
Okay, I'll make sure.
It's my only victory in GPVWC, I swear to God.
Hey, at least you have an achievement.
Actually, that's not quite true. I think back in the day, and we're talking 10 years ago here, Alex, when you were
6.
oh God, we had a championship called ITC, which was a touring car championship, and it was a lot of fun. It was a strange thing to do, considering this is all about Grand Prix-esque cars. That's what obviously GPVWC kind of stands for, that really. So yeah, single seaters all the way these days, and frankly, I'm on board with that. And we have 4 great championships. Well, 5 including Academy. Which actually, does Academy have points this year, Vince? Okay, so it's still not a championship. Okay, yeah, no worries. I believe there was discussion we were going to make it into a full championship, but yeah, it's still race by race, but that's fine. So we have 4 main championships, if you like. So yeah, it's great to see these guys, and of course, you will find some of these drivers will crop up in the other championships as well. They'll do guest drives here and there, and it's a great community to be part of GPVWC. Right, warm-up's ending, Alex. I'm going to ask you for the first time this season, who is your money on in race 1?
Oh, it's a toss-up between Apex and KV86. That's the answer I can give.
That's rubbish. I'm going to push you. I can't push you again.
Okay.
So of those 4 drivers, you've got to pick a name.
Well, Magnussen is probably going to crash. No commentators, guys. Hopefully.
That's the reverse curse, is it? You'd say that they're going to crash, and then hopefully they don't.
Hopefully not. We can hope, but yeah, I'm gonna go for either Tuamela or Latinen. Those are my 2.
So not one. So one person, and you've gone for 2 still.
Yes, because if I pick one person, then that's favoritism, right? Because I'm gonna pick the team that I made the livery for. And
excellent. No, I like that. I like that a lot. I respect that. Okay, I'm gonna go Massimiliano Riboli, because well-known race winner from last season, very close to Luke Mitchell's pace the last 2 seasons. I genuinely think Riboli, and I think they're P6. We'll find out momentarily when we run through the grid. But yeah, I think Riboli's in with a shout from there, and we do know the slipstream's powerful. So 47.7 degrees out on track that right now, and 26 degree air temperature best part of. That is, hot. So these guys are going to have to keep their tyres in good condition. But we are moving to the race session, so all the cars coming onto the grid now. We will do a formation lap and run through the grid. But Alex, isn't it great to be back racing again?
Yeah, and the new faces, the new liveries, it's all a bit of fun at the start of the year to see what people come up with and what people sort of end up racing as, basically.
I agree. I think it's great to see all the new liveries, especially if it's a returning team, and see what they've done over the winter break. Right, let's go through the starting lineup then for Formula Sprint 2's opening round of 2024. Patrick Magnussen and Oliver Taras are on the front row. Yassi Lahtinen and Noah Tuomela following them on row 2. Row 3 is Mateusz Majka, Massimiliano Ribali. My tip for this race is in P6. James Knox for GPVWC Academy in P7 and P8. Craig Patterson. P9 is Josh Dexter. Magnus Ochenhaug in P10 for Optiminal. Joe Gillette for Hunter Birch Simulation in P11, and 12th on the grid is Dan Hayek. 13th place is Filip Stravinsky, with 14th going to Mikhail Tuomala. Eunice Carrala and Tom Parker are 15th and 16th. 17th place goes to Bobby Vakuinov, with Mike Teichmann, the Mexican, in 18th position. Dan Hutt in 19th, with David Junt, who, keep an eye on him, by the way, he'll make positions in 20th place. Oliver Scharker for 01, 21st. Luca Gray in 22nd for Facinera. Mike Bell for Smile Power, returning to the championship in 23rd, with Nick Kuiper 24th. Scott Morris for RNG in 25th. Giesinger in 26th. Vicentievich 27th position. And 28th on the grid is Bjorn Golder. 29th goes to Alice Stone in Excellion, with their teammates Jörn Dix in 30th. Sokolovsky and Tawhid Ahmed in 31st and 32nd on the grid.
All in one mouthful. That's that.
Yep, thank you. Well,
yeah,
you know, do it a couple of times.
A lot of practice.
I mean, in fairness, I have a slight advantage. I did do the voiceover for Ed Hunter's brilliant intro video. Thank you so much for putting that together, Ed. So I've had a couple of goes at some of these names. But nevertheless, let me know if I get them wrong. Right, the cars are lining up at Albert Park start-finish straight now. We're just waiting for the final couple of drivers. Tawhid Ahmed coming through the final couple of corners now, putting their car on the final row of the grid. And we will be underway in 2024. And I am over the moon to be saying that, to be honest with you. It seems like forever since we were at Brazil a few months ago, but we're going to have 5 red lights and we're going to be racing. And let's see who gets the best start from Patrick Magnussen and Oliver Taras from the front row. Here come the lights then. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're underway at Albert Park, and Magnussen straight away just follows straight and keeps the lead. And behind him, his teammate, Tuomela, is following his slipstream, trying to go round the outside into turn 1. Gets on the grass a little bit. They're side by side there as they head onto the straight towards turn 3 for the very first time. And actually been left out to dry there as Tuomela. He's not in the slipstream at all as they head into turn 3. And through goes Taras then to maintain that P2. Lahtinen then behind Tuomela. And then straight away, 5th place is Majka and Ribali, kind of as you were at the front of the field. But great start for Magnussen. Look at the gap that they've got straight away.
Yeah, it's a 1.5 seconds. There was a bit of contact right off the line between Tuomela and Lahtinen. I'm interested to know whether either of those have damage, but that's put Majka now right on the back of Lahtinen with the slipstream. He's probably going to get the run now into turn 9, and he might actually go for an overtake. It's a very brave move, and yeah, it's not exactly the best place to make a move, as we see, I think, Azaraboli going wide, and that's your sort of bid for the race, with Knox now getting into the battle for 6th and probably podium places.
Whoa, look at that. Knox left that no margin whatsoever, swept his front wing across the diffuser of Ribali, but couldn't make the undercut work through that corner, or the over and under, I should say. But Ribali, yeah, he's in 6th place. He's got James Knox behind him, but it's certainly as you were at the front of the field. But that gap Magnussen got through those opening couple of corners meant that he could really just extend his lead. Further back, we've got Kuiper has pushed, I believe that's David Yunt a little bit wide.
More contact.
Through that final corner. And look at the swarm of drivers as we head towards turn 1 for the second time.
That's not a sight you see often. Into turn 1, and that's a spin.
Vicentijevic! Just kept out of the wall there. Yeah, Vicentijevic dropped to the back of the pile then. I'll tell you what, who else has dropped down is Dan Hutt. Is down in 29th position from about P18, I believe, on the grid. So he's lost a lot of positions already. We can have a look further up the field. Dan Hayek in P17. Craig Patterson we're watching right now in P8 for Priority 1. This is all kind of as you were, but he's being pressured by Josh Dexter as they head towards the 9-10 chicane. And in fact, Dexter's going to have a little bit of a slipstream. Needs some help from his GPVWC Academy teammate slipstream-wise. It's not going to work around the outside there as they sweep into the fast left-right.
And that camera shake is amazing, but I think we missed at the end of the last lap was Micah making the move on Lassinen for P4. And I think 6 attempts between Tuomela and Micah for the third position battle, and it's close between those 3 drivers still. Lassinen passed, but not giving up the fight just yet, and for a lot of people that's going to be the case. They're going to get past at the start of the race, but there's still 13 laps to go at this point as Magnussen crosses the line to make it the third tour around the circuit, and the third lap as Oliver Terraz sets the fastest lap time in his chase for victory behind Magnussen. And this is a heated battle. 3 cars, the Cap Clay, I believe that is Tom Parker, Luca Gray, and Bobby Vakanov all battling it out. And it looks like Tom Parker's sort of been left behind for Luca Gray there. And I'm probably looking at the wrong place.
Oh, look at that! Oh, into the wall. Who was that? Was that Gray or
Gray?
Yes, it is. It's Gray. And yeah, we've also got Carala. Is that Carala? Yes, Carala right behind. We're getting used to these liveries. We'll catch up. Yeah. But yes, Carala, behind Gray. But Gray will have some damage, I would say. Banging into the wall that hard, you're going to damage your suspension, surely.
And I think we watched in the background was Jix sort of getting into the gravel through turn 3. That's not going to be helping his chances. And this is a run now for Luca Gray on the back of Bobby Vakanov. And this is a run for Bobby Vakanov on the back of Tom Parker. This could be an overtake, but left out to dry. But that's a mistake for Tom Parker. And that's going to be great capitalization opportunity for Luca Gray. Now trying to get the slipstream. But this is a 4-car battle, and this could go any way, as they're all jostling for position. And I think Carala might actually be making a move around the outside. That's brave, but I think he's made it work.
Yeah, they're side by side as they head into the final cut. Oh, that was a little naughty. A bit of a hip and shoulder there. And Carala won't enjoy that from Luca Gray, I would say. Definitely pushed wide a little bit onto the grass. I think it was more Gray kind of got a little out of shape on the apex as opposed to trying to run him out of room. But definitely Carala lives to fight another day, and he's got a chance to catch back up to Luca Gray and make that move. Ribley, Lahtinen, those two are quite close together, but they're all kind of dropping off Magnussen in that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 battle. And there is also a bit of a gap between Josh Dexter in P12 and Chavinsky in 13th, opening up as well. In fact, we're kind of looking at the back of that pack right now, so you can see behind Gillette and Dexter, there is a bit of a gap going on to Chavinsky, and Chavinsky is not going to be in that slipstream, which we do know is going to be important.
And Micah has actually made the pass on Tuomela for third in that reading game car.
So he has, actually. We need to keep an eye on that, because that could easily be something that if we watch Micah's progress through this race, he could easily get, well, closer to the front, I guess. I mean, if he keeps making this kind of progress so far, then he can definitely get there. Tuomela now has Lahtinen kind of, well, half a second behind as well. So this Apex KV86 battle kind of hasn't come to fruition, really, has it? I mean, they've been overtaken by Micah, and Magnussen's got a 2-second lead on Taras.
Yeah, but Taras still pushing. Fastest lap of 34.8, and that's wide for Tuamela, and that might actually be a few points on the track limit sort of quota. I don't know what we're running. I think it's 5 total points.
Yeah,
Should be 5.
Yeah, which it's kind of a weird system they have in R Factor 2 these days. It used to be fairly easy to understand, but now it's kind of rated as to how much you cut by or how much you run wide by. So we won't know, but it will tell us when a driver has run wide too many times, because you will see a penalty pop up on the screen, and that is dealt with all automatically. There is no interference from the race director with that. Magnussen's lead, as you rightly pointed out, is being slowly whittled away by Oliver Taras, who gained 3/10, best part of, on him in that last lap. So it's not over by any means, this race, but Taras does look particularly strong in the middle sector in comparison to Magnussen. So keep an eye out.
Yeah, it's definitely a fight waiting to happen as we're watching Taras chasing for Patrick Magnussen. 1.7 seconds. He's getting held up. I think that's by Ahmed, who's got a front wing issue, is the kindest way to put it. He's not got it, and that's cost Magnussen a good chunk of time. And this could be Taras's opportunity to get back on the back of Magnussen and get into that slipstream and start chasing him and whittling away that advantage that he's gained on just by merit alone. And probably a bit of dirty air to help him out.
Yeah, the slipstream is, you can definitely see it. The live gap right there in the bottom right of your screen shows you where the drivers are strong and where they're not. But definitely on the straight, keep an eye out, because within kind of about this kind of range, you do start picking up slipstream. Anything under 2 seconds is kind of slipstream area. Of course, the live time through the corners is a bit weird. Sometimes it doesn't quite work, but on the straights for sure. And you can see Magnussen's lead just inside slipstream. He's going to gain by kind of like 0.5 just by being in that draft. And in fact, it's improving more and more as he goes down the straight there, Taras. So yes, keep an eye. And Magnussen's run wide as well, so he's lost another 10th, I would say. This could easily be under 1.5 seconds, and that's where Taras wants him.
It's close between Latin and Tuamela at the minute. 3 temps separating the two of them. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're about to see a move made by Latinen, especially down the main straight as we're heading towards it now. This is the final corner, or the penultimate corner, and this could be a run for Latinen to get up into P4 as he's... Oh, that's not good for Tuamela.
No, it's not. No, Tuamela has thrown away that position, made it easy pickings for Latinen. So the two Finnish drivers swapping around. And that means Ribley now right on the back of Tuamela, who now needs to get his rear tire temperatures under control, make sure he doesn't make any more mistakes, although in fact it's Ribley who runs wide through T1. So makes his life a little bit easier, but certainly not what he needed at all. 1.5 seconds the gap between the leaders now. And again, another couple of tenths taken away from Magnussen by Oliver Taras on the last lap for Apex Grand Prix. So the lead is definitely compressing together. They're closing in on Magnussen, but it definitely looks like a 2-horse race now. Micah just doesn't seem to have the pace to keep up with those two. But keep an eye on that one. Further back, I was just going to say this, Tuamala's made up 3 positions, Luca Gray up 6. Sokolovsky's poor position in qualifying has resulted in 19th now, so up 12 positions on the grid. But right at the front, Micah, as we said, did make a couple of positions off the line, but it is proving difficult to generally overtake for everyone, and it's waiting for a little error before you can do so. But yeah, some great battles going on, and we're halfway through the opening round. It feels like I'm not taking a breath.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's been constant action. Someone's going off somewhere. There's a battle between 2 cars, at least somewhere on the track, as we got to Josh Dexter trailing Tuamala for 11th. And you have to remember, there is a reverse grid, and these positions do matter, especially in the 10th to 15th range. That could be pole in race 2. Race 2, not as many points available, but still important overall. And obviously the winner gets put back because we do have a reverse grid. So Magnussen will, if he goes on to win the race, will have to fight through. And that's going to be interesting to see, because it seems that while yes, the KV86 is great on its own, we just don't know how good it is when it's racing with other drivers, and that's also been proved by Tuomela, who's sort of struggling at the minute to get his car in control, but he's got a bit of a nice cushion in front and behind of him.
Yes, absolutely. And those few drivers at the front are kind of all balancing out. Latin, of course, quite close to Micah now. So keep an eye on that one as well. The gap at the front, in fact, here comes Latin, and now as they head towards the 9-10 chicane, he's forced a defensive move from Micah. Almost runs into the back of him as they sweep through the right-hander. It's very easy to take too much curb there and run onto the sausage and basically bin your car into the dirt on the outside. But Latin kind of looked like he was lining up a move, but just didn't quite have enough of an overlap.
Yeah, and Latin will have the opportunity on this next straight if he stays this close, as we saw, and that's Tuomala.
Yep.
No front wing.
No, that was an interesting rejoin. I'm not sure I would have done that necessarily, but Tuomala will have to pit and repair that damage within one lap. Let's have a little look at a replay and see what happened to him. I think I'm going to prove the point I just made about the sausage curb here. That's what I'm going to guess happened here. So, onto the sausage curb, puts it into the dirt, and that is effectively race over, although he's still got the engine running. But yeah, exactly what I said. It's so easy to do. Just take a little bit too much curb, hook that sausage curb, and that was a brave rejoin. He's got away with it. It'll be fine. We have a replay of the start here from Latinen's POV. So, of course, Magnussen had a great launch, just able to just drive towards turn one. A bit of a glitch with the lights, but that's fine. Yeah, so great launch from Magnussen. Straight away, you saw Tuomela making a move to split the two Apex drivers, but was just too wide on the grass and allowed Taras to move straight back through and into P2. And, of course, then was hung out to dry as he had no slipstream there, Tuomela. So the Apex is able to move through and then recovered that position in the opening sector. Further back, this is what happened to Dan Hutt. If you remember, he was around P19 or something at this point. Something happened to him. Oh, he lost it by himself. Very interesting.
I've seen a lot of drivers doing that, actually. They've got their brake balance maybe not set as far forward as they probably should, and they've been locking up the rears, notably into turn 3 and the penultimate corner. Those have been some ultimately challenging braking zones for these new cars. And Alice Stone just...
Ooh. Yeah, a bit of lag for Alice. Yeah.
So that looked like it was going to be a crash.
But... Yeah, definitely. But just a little bit of a connection issue. Here's Mike Teichmann. It's another replay of the Mexicans side by side. I'm not sure exactly which of the two. Ooh, a bit of contact as well. Teichmann got away with that one. Yeah, that didn't look quite so nice for him, and in fact took him a while to get going again. Here's Joe Gillette. So what happened to Gillette? To T1. Runs a little bit wide onto the grass. He got a penalty, apparently, according to Vince Gutt. So, done that too many times. And although still running in P10, Gillette has a time, well, some sort of penalty. I'm not sure exactly what he has right now, but usually ends up being a drive-through, I believe.
Yeah, it's a drive-through for getting over your track limit per se, and that's...
Oh, dear. That's what happened to Ahmed, and that is so unfortunate for them, because there was absolutely zero that Towhead could do in that situation. Right, back to live action then. We caught up on the replays, and there is some lap traffic going on here, but the main thing you'll see, Taras is in range.
Yeah, this could easily become a move, as we've also got Lassinen on the back of Micah in the background, but this is close and weaving through the lap traffic. Patrick is doing anything sort of hold on as Morris gets a penalty further back. But
yeah, he's already 27. Sorry. I was just going to say he's 27th anyway for RNG, so Morris is having a tricky one. Go on.
That turn 1, it will mess you up. That's an orange cut, which I believe is 0.75 or there or thereabouts. which is a significant amount when you consider that the limit is 5, but this could be it. The slipstream could get Taras right up onto the back of Magnusson if he's opportunistic enough to go for a move around the outside or even on the inside of turn 9 and 10, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be close enough, but he's close enough to get some horrible dirty air effects and very close to...
Oh, this is close enough. This is close enough to make a lunge here if he wants to. See the gap coming down in the bottom right. It's less than 2 tenths now. Into the braking zone they go. Magnusson's brakes very late indeed, but just gets it stopped in time, gets it to the apex. Good driving from Magnusson not to defend absolutely thin air, but you can see Taras is struggling with understeer now. He's right up to the back of Magnusson, heading through the final corner, trying to find some clean air where he can. Turns in a little earlier just so he can grab that bit of clean air, but down the start finish straight you can see the gap coming down. It's now 4.5 tenths, now 4 tenths, now 3. So the slipstream is making a big difference. He's just got to get close enough, and Magnusson will be affected by dirty air through that first corner, but of course now he has the slipstream from the lap car and will be able to defend heading into turn 3, as I think that's probably Ahmed gets out of the way there. Could be Gillette, of course, serving his penalty, but he does seem to still be in P10, so I think it's probably Ahmed who is thankfully still going. You've got to stay out there. No matter what happens to you, you never know what will happen, and you could still score points, especially in a championship like this. Or leaving nothing to the table there. Taras, he's got to be careful not to do that too many times, or he too will end up with some form of penalty. That is a long way wide.
Yeah, it's that's what happens though. It's the dirty air. You get the bad air basically. You lose your downforce on both the front and rear. The car essentially becomes light. And that's not good. That's not good at all.
No, that's not good at all for Taras. Can he keep that on the black stuff? Yes, he can. And in fact, he's going to go away with that entirely. But that is the end of the race for the lead, if you like. Taras completely losing it through turn 9 and 10. And now with just 3 laps left to go, Micah 3.2 behind. Although, of course, that will ruin your tyres. It will scrub the surface. What happened to Taras here? I actually genuinely was looking at the timing screen.
Inside curb.
Inside curb again. Oh, the first inside curb. Oh, Oliver, that's a bit of a brain fade, my friend. And Mike...
That's a strange line.
Was he defending from Latinum?
Maybe. Yeah, that would be good to watch that battle.
Yeah, in fact, they are 4 tenths apart right now. So Micah must have been defending from Latinum. So this is now a fight for P3, but we do know that Taras has just gone sideways across the tarmac. That really does take the life out of your tyres. So we'll probably be a bit slower. So this is not over for P2 either, by the way. And that will shake you up as well, doing that at high speed. Even in game, you know, it's you know, you're on the seat of your pants trying to keep it out of the wall. And Taras has got away with it. But nevertheless, Magnusson now just has to coast in from here.
Yep, it's comfort. Now, for Magnusson, 6 seconds, he's got that gap from that mistake, which, you know, that mistake, it feels a lot more than it is to that driver, especially over Taras. He's not going to be feeling particularly happy with himself that he threw away an opportunity like that. And what I've just noticed is that the graphic says DRS active.
Yeah, fun times. They do not have DRS, trust me. The rear wing flap is firmly shut. But nevertheless, that will be a kind of vestige from you know, the other series does have that graphic available. But yeah, nevertheless, Ribbley look right on. Well, actually, the other way around. Knox is right on the back of Ribbley. So yeah, Knox right there. He's driven really well for the academy. Dexter, his teammate, in 11th position as well. So Menno Clant will be enjoying this. His GPVWC Academy team, he always brings up drivers who have done well in the Academy series and throws them into FS2 in the kind of hope that they find a team, really. And Ribbley's run wide here a little bit, and this will give a great opportunity to Knox. He's got an overrun in terms of speed. He managed to steal a little bit of slipstream, but unfortunately he's the wrong side of the track really to make a move here. He should be hung out to dry by the Italian, who does take the apex and in fact does defend that very well. So Knox will have to try again on the next lap.
But he's definitely close enough, especially for turn 9, or even before then, with the slipstream. But I do think that Knox is running the default setup, or at least higher wings, than Raboli, so this is going to be difficult to make a pass because the side slipstream, which you often get, isn't really in existence here in R Factor. So he's only going to be reliant on this behind.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two side by side into P9, and Micah does take 3. So he's P3, Micah. Lartonen's still there in P4. These two have been battling away for the last few laps, and they are not making progress towards Taras as Lartonen sends it down the outside. There's no way through there. But Micah and him side by side through 9 and 10. That is a very, very tricky place to be side by side with someone. But Micah P3, Lartonen P4 then. And yeah, so it's all about those two for the rest of the race. Dexter here side by side with Vakuinov. Dexter on the inside, Vakuinov trying to go around the outside. What a move by the Bulgarian, and he takes that position, moves himself up to P12. Dexter has been dropping back the last few laps. I wonder if he's gone too hard too soon. Lartonen really on the back of Micah now through T1 and 2, and down this straight towards turn 3 then. Lartonen within a couple of tenths. He could send this. Micah goes defensive. Lartonen later on the brakes, but Micah's run wide. Lartonen's through. Great move by the Apex Grand Prix driver. Waited for that little error and moved himself back up to the P3 behind his teammate Taras.
Typical last lap racing. It's on the limit of what these cars can possibly do, and you see it there. Matoush just going slightly over, and it seems all these drivers going slightly over, but he's out of touch now. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that turn 9 move was incredible. But Tuomela is actually on the back of Micah now for P4. Yeah,
he's lost a lot of ground, Micah, in those last couple of corners, and Tuomela is right there. In fact, he's able to get side by side towards turn 9 and 10. This is going to be very, very scary. Tuomela around the outside. Oh, what a move by the KV86 driver. He moves himself up to P4. Micah really struggling on this last lap, and he's got to be careful. He needs to still finish. He's in danger of dropping further back or even making a dangerous move. But Micah, in fact, yeah, see, he's run wide, and behind him is Ribbley, but too far back to make anything of that. But KV86 will take the first victory of the season in the hands of Patrick Magnusson, and he takes a dominant win, you have to say, at Albert Park. Oliver Taras does take P2 from Lartonen, Tuomela P4 and Micah P5. Here comes Ribbley and Knox slipstreaming all the way to the line, but does not make the move. Ochenhaug for Optiminal takes P8, Craig Patterson 9th, and Tom Parker rounds out the top 10. We're looking at Oliver Scharker, who's trying to make the move on the very, very last corner, and does so. And Scharker moves himself up ahead of Dan Hayek and takes that P18. But the final position in the top 15 was Kaurala. So anywhere from, I think it's 10th to 15th, is that right? For the reverse grid. So keep an eye out on those drivers. So Parker, Vakuinov, Dexter Gray, or Sokolovsky, or Kaurala. One of those drivers will be on pole for race 2. But what a drive by Patrick Magnusson.
Absolutely dominant, and I'm just imagining the inside of that KV86 VC right now. It's probably erupted. Well, maybe they're staying calm and realizing there's still a second race here, and it very much matters just as much as race 1. And Magnusson is going to be at the back of this reverse grid, and that's going to be very, very difficult to fight that through. Yeah, as we've seen that.
It's a big reverse, isn't it? It's a big reverse.
But it's going to happen to both Apex and KV86, so maybe we'll see a different winner, maybe Tom Parker in contention.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. So the results from race 1. Do you want to have a go at these, Alex, or do you want me to read these out? I have no...
Sure, let's go. To win, it's Patrick Magnusson for KV86, closely followed by the 2 Apex Grand Prix of Oliver Taras and Jase Lartonen, and then finishing the Apex Grand Prix sandwich is Noah Tuomela. Matoush Micah, an impressive performance until the later stages of the race where he sort of threw it all away to take P5, with Massimiliano Riboli fighting off James Knox for P6 and P7 respectively. Magnus Ochenhaug finishing the Optiminal in P8 with Craig Patterson close behind for P9. Tom Parker, the first of the Scuderia Cup plays after Tuomela's sort of spin, takes P10 as we move on to the second half of the grid. Bobby Vakuinov, P11, followed by Joshua Dexter. They were fighting right to the end. And then it's Luca Gray in the Scuderia Frecanera and Matoush Sokolowski. And finishing out the points, Jonas Karala for Priority 1. Then it's David Yunt for Team RNG. Joe Gillett, after serving his penalty that he got for track limits, finishes P17. And then on the first race for the team and the driver, Oliver Jaka for 01 Esports, followed by Dan Hayek and Mike Bell for Smile Power Racing. Then P21 is Michael Teichmann for ST Racing and Bjorn Golder, the last of the Smile Power Racing in P22. Michael Tuamala, after a mistake early on in the race, down in P23, followed by Jörn Dix, and I think that graphic is wrong, maybe? It's saying DNF.
This is fun. We've got two 24th positions here.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm interested to know how that's going to be classified, to be honest. But yeah, 26th, Tawhid Ahmed for Hunter Birch Simulation, followed by Scott Morris, Alice Stone, Dan Hutt, Nick Kuiper, and one last person who is DNF'd, Maxi Geisinger in the 01 Esports.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Well done, mate. I noticed you dodged Vincentievich. That is a hard name to say, to be fair.
Yes.
Practice that one. But yeah, that was race 1. We're going to take a little bit of a break now. So keep your eyes firmly fixed on the broadcast. We will be back momentarily. But we're just going to have a little bit of a break. And then we will have the rest of warm-up and race 2. So stay tuned. welcome back, guys. Vince is just making sure that the stream is displaying correctly, which he's doing right now in the background. Of course, this is our first broadcast of it's our first career ladder Formula Sprint 2 broadcast of the season. So a couple of niggles, but all good. Hopefully, you are all enjoying it so far. Be sure to message in the YouTube chat and let us know what you think. I've just been reading through some of your messages. Thank you so much for tuning in and dropping your ideas and thoughts. It is nice to see the community active and engaging. Thank you so much. We are moving into race 2 of the 2024 season, the second race at the first round at Melbourne, and I am joined by Alex Foulkes, who we witnessed quite kind of a bit of an up and down race 1. Not an all-time classic, of course, but certainly some action up and down the field.
Yeah, it's interesting with these new cars, how close the drivers are able to get, and then how far they're able to get at the same time. It's sort of a bit of a mismatch of sort of driving skill and car control in the field, and it's certainly showing with some very interesting racing that we've seen. Obviously not one of the best races of all time, but probably up there in terms of Formula Sprint 2 races.
Yeah, I think race 2 should be a bit more of a mixed bag. We do have that reverse grid, and it has been announced that 10th place in race 1 is the reverse grid pole, so that means Tom Parker starts P1. Tom, a very experienced driver, and he will be looking to get his name right at the top of the sheets in race 2. Starting from pole is absolutely where you want to be to do so. Tom has been around for a long time in GPVWC, certainly knows his way around this community. So it'll be interesting to see if he's able to stay in P1. Some very, very fast drivers behind him. And of course, our race 1 winner will be starting P10. So lots of work to do for Magnussen.
Yeah, but it could be worse. It could be P15. And that's what most of the drivers in the top positions sort of are thinking in their heads right now, that, okay, we could be P13 or whatever position they would end up being. And it's pretty important to remember that, while yes, it is race 2, and yes, there is less points on offer, race 2s have and will decide championships. And are absolutely important for these drivers to get right, and no silly mistakes. It's the same race, just shorter in some ways. It usually feels shorter, at least in my experience.
There is slightly different points for race 2. So race 1, 25 points for the race winner, 20 points on offer in race 2. It is slightly less, but it's still the same distance. And of course, if a win is a win ultimately. But nevertheless, because it's kind of more perilous, race 2, you do start, do you find the faster drivers start a little bit lower down, on average anyway. So 20 points on offer for the win as opposed to 25, but it does still go down to 15th place. So plenty of chances to make progress in the championship overall. There's also 1 point for fastest lap in both races, provided the driver finishes in the top 15 of that race. So you have to be in the points to get the extra point, if you see what I mean. So plenty of points on offer throughout the whole season. It does mean you can recover your season, especially if you have a couple of good rounds. I believe Taras took the fastest lap in race 1 and he finished P2, so don't count him out for the overall season, but we are very, very early. But it does seem like Magnussen, Taras, Lattinen, Micah, Ribali, these drivers are going to crop up throughout the season. So keep an eye.
Yep, and race 2 is especially one of the best races because these drivers are now in the rhythm. It might get broken by the warm-up and the end of the race and the bit of a break between the two races, but they will get back into that rhythm very quickly, and we will see the pace slowly but definitely increasing as a field-wide thing. So the racing is going to get tighter, the margins are going to be thinner, and a lot less room for mistake in race 2 than there would be in race 1, where some people are a little rusty, maybe not the best qualifying or not the best sort of day, really. A lot of factors that play into account for whatever position and wherever you end up in the race. But yeah, a lot of drivers, it's a good mental reset race 2, and hopefully some of the drivers that maybe lost out in race 1 will be able to get their restitution in race 2.
Yeah, definitely. Right, so warm-up is kind of ending right now. We're just waiting for the session to move over to race so that we can get cracking with the second race. I'm going to do it again to you. So obviously I was way out with Ribley in race 1. We've got Tom Parker starting on pole in race 2. Are you going to be boring and say Tom Parker, or is there someone else you think might get it? I'll go through the grid backwards for you. So it's Parker, Patterson, Ockenhaug, Knox, Ribley, Micah, Turmella, Larden, and Taras Magnussen in that order is the top 10. So who do you think?
I'm going to throw... I think Ockenhaug is probably...
Nice.
In the running, he's a very strong driver on his day, and he seems strong in his battle that we saw on the stream, and hopefully he's able to carry that into the race 2, and that's who I'm rooting for, I think. Optimal looking very strong this weekend. I'm
going to go Micah, because he's going to be starting P6, and I like a P6 start. I went with Ribley in race 1, but Micah defo had the pace to be sort of top 3, obviously dropped off throughout the race, but he, in front of him, he's got Ribley, Knox, Ockenhaug, Patterson, Parker. I feel like he's quicker than all of those guys. So if he gets off to a good start, we saw him make some moves as well. I think he could be the one, but we'll keep an eye out on that. Just waiting for this session to move over. It's taken an awfully long time to move over, so not quite sure what's happening there. We don't actually have access to what's being said in the in-game chat right now, but certainly the session seems to be kind of stuck on warm-up. He's probably reorganising. So Chris Williamson does a superb job behind the scenes. He has race-directed so many races over the last few years for GPVWC. Does not get a good enough shout-out, in my opinion, but Chris Williamson, he does all of the liveries. He edits all the mods, often modifies the tracks as well. So for our use, he in fact made this version of Australia for GPVWC. He race directs. He's such a good guy, top bloke. Does not get a good enough shout out, and he's probably editing the grid as we speak as well. So making sure that everyone's in their correct positions. We have moved to race now. So the drivers are lining up on the grid. And you can see in the foreground there, I believe that's James Knox, who is going to start P4 on the grid for the GPVWC Academy, making sure his wheel works as he turns it left and right. Just waiting for the last few seconds for all the chaps and the guys and girls to join the grid. And we will be underway for the formation lap number 2 as the weather improves slightly.
Yes.
Race 2 at Albert Park. I am excited, Alex.
Yep, and as you mentioned, the wheel check is probably always a good way to start your formation lap, and it's always good to know that the equipment you're using is not faulty. But Tom Parker away for the formation lap, and Chris saying thank you for the shout out, which
no worries. Cool. All right, here's the grid. So Tom Parker, Craig Patterson line up on the front row, Magnus Ockenhaug and James Knox on row 2. Row 3 is Massimiliano Ribley and Mateusz Micah, my pick for the win, with Noah Turmella and Jesse Ladenen for Apex Grand Prix in P8. Row 5, Oliver Taras and Patrick Magnussen, our race 1 winner, in 10th place. So Bobby Vakuinov and Josh Dexter behind them, 11th and 12th positions. P13 on the grid is Luca Gray and Sokolovsky in 14th, with Yunus Karala and David Yunt in P16 for Team RNG. 17th place is Joe Gillett and Oliver Scharke for 01 Esports in 18th place. 19th is Dan Hayek, and 20th place for Smile Power is Mike Bell. 21st on the grid is Mike Teichmann and Bjorn Gulder for Smile Power in 22nd place, with Scuderia Cap Clays Mikhail Tuamala and Mihailo Vicentievich in 24th. 25th is Jörn Dix for Excellion Motorsport with Tahit Ahmed. In 26th place, Philip Shavinsky and Scott Morris are 27th and 28th. 29th position is Alice Stone for Excellion with Dan Hutt in 30th place. And Maxi Giesinger rounds out the grid. We have lost one driver, and I couldn't tell you who that is. But that is our grid for race 2. So we're watching Tom Parker go around in the Scuderia Cap Clay. He leads the field for race 2. And we'll be looking to get a good getaway from those 5 red lights and head down to turn 1, hopefully holding on to the lead from his point of view. Craig Patterson's a top driver as well. He comes from Formula Sprint 1. He's definitely, on his day, a fantastic driver. Definitely a race winner in the past as well. So keep an eye out for Patterson. I haven't forgotten about him. I feel like Micah in P6 can come through the pack. But keep an eye out on those top 6, and definitely the top 10 in its whole is reversed. So you will find faster drivers trying to overtake and make their way through to the front of the pack. The last few drivers lining up on the grid now, and as Giesinger slots into his position in 31st place, we wait for the red lights to come on, and here they come, faster than in race 1, and it's Parker on the right, Patterson on the left, and we are go for race 2. Parker makes a good start, but Patterson trying to get in his slipstream, and in fact Parker's going to hold the lead down into turn 1 for the first time, and through they go. P3 is Ockenhaug with Ribley and Knox side by side through the apex of turn 1. And in fact, it looks like Ribley has made that position on Knox into 4th place. Mike has lost a position in P7. And as they head 3 wide, look at Ockenhaug. And, Magnussen, in P8. Very late on the brakes. He's made a couple of positions up there. Nicely for him in that KV86 machine. Ockenhaug in the Optimal in P3. I was kind of watching both as they went through that through that corner, but Magnussen taking 2 positions straight away on the opening lap.
There's a crash at the back. I think it was a Scuderia Frecanera, and straight into the wall. Turn
yeah,
6.
Luca Gray. It looks like he is out of this race. So Luca Gray's had a troublesome opening round here at Albert Park as they go into turn 9 and 10 for the first time. Ockenhaug right on the back of Patterson, and the 2 Optiminals 3rd and 4th making an aggressive opening lap move towards the front of the pack, but behind them there's a bit of a gap to Knox, and Micah defending away there from Magnussen, and Magnussen there. P8, he looks like he wants to make positions early.
Yeah, that's the main goal in race 2. It's making those positions up early, getting a good rhythm for the rest of the race, and it seems that way for Parker. 0.5 to Patterson, but I've started on reverse pole before, and I actually had Patterson behind me, and he does not give up in his attack, and he won't give up in his defense for P1 either. So that battle is going to be continuing for a while, but we've also got Ockenhaug and Riboli mounting pressure onto the back of the leader, and that's 5 cars that still are very much in contention, and Knox on his first race with the Academy team. Quite impressive. Up in P5 at the minute, and hopefully he'll hold on to it, and Magnussen dropping down, overtaken by Lassinen, but Taras is going down the order very quickly. What's happened to him?
Where is he? 19th place. He must have some damage to be dropping that fast. We'll catch up with some of the replays momentarily, but yeah, Ockenhaug there in some space, but behind him James Knox is all over his teammate Massimiliano Ribley, and James Knox coming through to turn 9 and 10, not quite able to get a good enough overlap to be side by side. Behind him though, Micah and what have we got going on? So we've got it's Tuamela in P6, isn't it? Of course. Knox, the still lead switch back. Not quite enough room on the inside, trying to go around the outside. That would have worked. He didn't have enough space there. And Tuamela's going to take advantage. Through goes Tuamela. And in fact, Micah wants a piece of that as well. And Knox, unfortunately, they're just a little too aggressive. He's been hung out to dry now. And through goes Micah as well. So, yeah, Knox trying to make that move, but it was just a little bit too tricky for his own good.
Yeah, and best lap time by Parker, but Patterson right on the back of him still. And the battle we're watching, it's very close, and Knox almost touching the rear wing of Micah as we head towards turn 3. And pulls out to the side, but he's trying the same thing again. You can't go around the outside at turn 3, but he's going to try it and loses a lot of time. And that's going to give Patrick Magnussen, who's close behind and ready to pounce on any mistake. And Patterson has lost P2.
Yeah, Ockenhaug's through. Yeah, Magnus Ockenhaug for Optiminal up to P2. And looking to catch Tom Parker in the lead. Micah's not been able to get through Tuamela very easily. I thought that would be a bit easier. But what happened to Taras? I'd love to know. He's not got a damage local. Well, certainly not substantial enough to have lost a wing. He may have some, of course, some suspension damage. I wonder if he sort of got shunted wide or spurn or something. Because that's a lot of positions lost for the Apex Grand Prix driver. And of course, we know how fast he was from race 1.
Tuamela's dropping.
Oh yeah, look we've got Tuamela down in P10 now. And he is dropping. Something wrong with Noah Tuamela's car too. Wonder what's happened there as Taras. Oh, sideways.
Well, how?
Yeah, it's sometimes when it rains, it really does pour. And Taras now P20 behind Teichmann, and Sokolovsky and him were side by side there. And Taras needs to calm down a little bit. So does Knox as well. For what it's worth, he definitely James Knox definitely threw his car about just a little bit too much. But Micah just does not seem to have the pace I thought he might early part of race 2.
Yeah, and Ockenhaug, my prediction, actually looking very racy on the back of Parker. But Knox, yeah, he needs to tone it back a little. It's only lap 4. You can't be risking your race so early on like we've seen many drivers do up to this point, and it hasn't gone well for them. And Knox sort of losing contact now with Micah. 9 tenths separating the two drivers and up to a second through turn 6. But Yunt, relentless on the back of Tuamela, but he's also got 3 cars behind him. The other Academy car and Mike Bell, who's close behind and looking to get a move into turn 9 around the outside, but he's still got cars behind him. But I think Bell has got it on the straight.
Wow.
Yunt with the inside line here.
These old heads, so Yunt and Bell have been around a long time. They both knew side by side through 9 and 10 is not a good idea. And as such, Yunt does lose that position, but they both live to fight another day. Behind them, of course, we've got Dexter. And Dexter is kind of brand new. He comes from GPVWC Academy and looking to make his move through the pack. But, sideways from Dexter. Yunt there, though, for RNG in that kind of Minardi-esque livery from kind of 2003. It looks really cool, by the way. Joe Gillette for Hunter Birch moves up past Dexter and goes into P14. So some moves being made, but toward the front, Ockenhaug has got Parker well within his sights as Gillette is going to be repassed into turn 1, and through goes Dexter on the inside.
And it's close between Tuamela and Kerala as well, up into turn 3, and it seems like Tuamela's made the move on the priority 1 driver. Yeah, it's actually heading to before turn 3, turn 1, turn 2, as Magnussen sets the fastest lap. And just looking at the gaps right now, there's nobody that's not within a second of each other for the most part that's actually in the top 20. 15 seconds between 20th and the leader after only 5 laps is something you don't see often. But Michael Tuamela on the back of Joe Gillette, but he's got 3 cars behind him as well, all ready to pounce. That's Tuamela going for the inside towards turn 9, and who's that? Making Saka as well, capitalizing on that. So Gillette lost 2 positions after making an overtake on Josh Dexter. But I think Ockenhaug now very much got Parker in his sights at the front of the race.
Yeah, 4 tenths between those two. It was almost like Shaka was pushing down the straight towards turn 9. There was a small gap, but it was very, very close. Look at this gap, though. For the lead, Magnus Ockenhaug for Optiminal versus Tom Parker for Scuderia Cap Clay. And these two are about to engage upon a little battle, I would say. We're almost at the halfway stage as Ockenhaug sideways through turn 1. He is pushing and has lost a little bit of time as a result of that. Patterson holding on to P3 at the moment. Ribley and Micah very close proximity behind, with James Knox waiting to pounce on any kind of mistake. But Magnus Ockenhaug, the Norwegian there, he is right there with Tom Parker.
Yeah, and Ockenhaug making that small mistake, but that's bound to happen, and there's still 9 more laps in this that he has the opportunity to make, and he's not losing a lot of time, especially through turn 6. It's mostly the dirty air that's going to be hurting Ockenhaug right now, but as soon as he's close enough on a straight, that will be the move. Whether he'll stick, who knows? And that's what we will hopefully be seeing very soon. But further back, Micah and Nox very close together now, and I believe they're just in the back of this shot. You see Patterson coming through. He's got Rapoli hot on his heels, 7 tenths behind.
Oh, Lahtinen. Something's happened to Jesse Lahtinen. He is just dropped 4 or 5 positions now, down to P12. So the Apex Grand Prix drive, something to happen there. But yeah, Luca Gray, Sokolovsky, we've lost a few drivers. In fact, we've lost 10 drivers from the... Is that right? Or was my race view just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drivers we've lost so far from this race with varying contact. We lost Luca Gray very early on.
Here we go.
And look at this from Ockenhaug. Yeah, here we go. Absolutely. Down towards turn 3. This is the closest he's been. Tom Parker is not defending yet. That gap just big enough for Ockenhaug not to be able to lunge down the inside. But that is probably the best overtaking opportunity at Albert Park.
Yeah, that and the penultimate corner, if you're close enough there. We've seen many moves being made in turn 3, and I think Ockenhaug is sort of lining that up, or sort of trying to get close enough, as that dirty air isn't helping him, and he goes onto the grass through turn 6, which 4 attempts. He could be very close out of turn 9 and 10. He won't make it before then, or I assume he won't, but that slipstream is going to bring him right in, and there could be another move heading towards turn 11, which is another popular overtaking strategy area. I think it could be on.
Yeah, it could be on. He's just got to stay close enough through 9 and 10, and the dirty air doesn't help you through there. And you can see that Ockenhaug did run wide. It was close, but not close enough for the optimal driver. Look at this gaggle of cars, Alex. What's going on here?
Well, it's not a great race for the Apex cars, that's for sure. They're down in 17th and 13th.
Down the inside, has he made it work? Not quite. Oh, on the back, that's Taras.
What a save.
Trying to recover. Managed to hold on to it, but Shaka and Tuamala there, side by side, into 11, as you say, is a popular strategic. Oh, and who's wide? Is that Dexter? Yes. Dexter running wide in the final corner, doesn't want to rejoin there, but yeah, there's a bit more chaos in race 2, and we are seeing that playing out now.
Yeah, like I said, the margins are closer, and those mistakes will happen as a penalty for Patrick and Magnussen.
Oh no! I see. Wide. Yeah, that would be track limits. That's going to take Magnussen well out of the running if that's some sort of pit lane drive through or stop go. If he's broken track limits already, lap 8. So I mean, our championship leader after race 1, he is going to have to go through the pit lane, and that is not good news at all for the KV86 driver. So Magnussen P7 for now. But that drive through could drop him out of the points. 10 positions up, 10 positions for Mike Bell. I have not mentioned him too much, but how has he done that?
Well, he's been helped by the many incidents, and he's leading that train, Lahtinen.
Here's the Mike Bell train we were talking about, and into turn 9 and 10, Mike Bell defends on the inside, and through on the inside goes Lahtinen. And straight away, in the background, Taras is round. Is he in the wall?
I think.
Did he keep it out the wall? Mike Bell on the outside. Then he's through on the inside. He's going to try David Yunt. Those two have been locked in battle most of the race, but Yunt not quite brave enough. As side by side goes Carala with Tuamala, and the Finns sorting themselves out one way or another. Oh, Carala's round. Keep it. Hold it. So this is so close to looping that, but through he goes through the last corner. Yunt is on the inside of Bell here as they head side by side towards turn 1. I'm not sure what Yunt is trying to achieve there. And out of the pits comes Magnussen all the way down in P16. He's got some work to do to catch back up in the points.
Yes, but he's also been helped by Taras, now out of the points and behind him with that mistake. And Taras has done very well to recover that quickly. But this is Micah on the back of Raboli. And this is very much an overtaking opportunity with Knox as well. James Knox on the back of this, he's probably going to try and capitalize. The slipstream is going to be huge, and this is easily an overtaking opportunity for Micah, especially we've seen it done before through turn 9. And I think Micah, one of the pioneers of trying to go around the outside, and he's going to try it once again.
I don't
Will he
like
make it stick?
Oh, what a move! Yeah, that was a good call, Alex. I mean, he has definitely been aggressive in race 1 as well. But with the slipstream back again, Riboli right on the outside of him as they head into 11. But Micah makes it stick. What a move around the outside that was, though.
A lot of drivers have been trying that, and very few have made it work. But Micah showing all the other drivers exactly how you should do it. Valkenhag also falling off a bit of Tom Parker and Magnussen. I think that's a close battle for 14. Dexter and Kerala. Those cars are close together, and Kerala's falling down the order.
Knox is looking, but James just needs to just crack on with driving on the racing line for now, and only pick your fights when you. There's no one trying to scare someone like Massimiliano Riboli out of position. He's an experienced driver. This is way too aggressive, James. Yeah, that's paying the price, and that's gonna be a penalty. It could well be. I'm literally just saying it. You just need to sometimes calm heads, relax a little bit, and just let the race come to you. He's trying to force the issue every time, James Knox, and that's exactly what happened then. You know, he trying to force the issue down the inside. There wasn't really, Riboli was already defending, and just sent it too hard and ended up coming off worse. And Riboli now a nice clear gap in 5th, and James Knox down in P12. I could see it happening. I could see that about to happen, and that's it ultimately did. So now he drops behind this Bell to Amala battle, and Junter's made his way past Bell, actually, look.
Yeah, that's... I think we watched that happen, actually, a few laps ago, but as you were saying, I think I heard a desk hit there, Toby, and...
Yeah, don't worry, that was the cat's head, but...
Okay. Just making sure, because that seems like an apt appropriate to that mistake that Knox made there, and going down the inside of Riboli is not something that's easy to do, and he will defend, as this is Kerala on the inside of Dexter, and this, like I've been saying, this is an overtaking opportunity, but doors close.
Dexter sideways and has just lost a little bit of momentum there. Kerala trying around the outside. They don't seem to have much rear tyre left, to be honest, those two. I don't know if it's setup related or rotation related, but now Dexter trying again on the inside. I do like watching the GPVWC Academy drivers come through. They kind of have not much to lose. Kerala sideways. There was a little bit of contact at the apex there, but Dexter is nevertheless through. Micah closing in very quickly on Patterson, by the way. He's now less than half a second back of Patterson. So those two very close. And we also have Lattinen here on the back of Tuomela, of course. So, yes, because Magnussen's down in P15. But, yeah, so Tuomela and Lattinen, both Finnish drivers, I believe. And, look at this. Micah side by side. Yeah, look at this. In fact, Patterson just holds on, but Micah trying to make that move. We've seen him do that to Riboli, and Patterson's very defensive there. This could be a switchback. In fact, he's trying to go around the outside, Micah, there. This is holding up his progress somewhat, and Ockenhaug is going to be able to just concentrate on Parker for the rest of this race at this rate, and Lattinen and Tuomela. And Magnussen's looped it in 9 and 10 as well. Look, he's dropped off the back of that points-paying positions, and through goes Scott Morris for RNG. What happened to Magnussen there? We haven't watched any replays because it's been so full of action so far. Micah has an overlap here on Patterson. It's going to be the last of the late breakers into turn 1 around the outside. Nothing doing this time, but Patterson's defending into turn 3. Look, Alex.
Yeah, Patterson is relentless on that defense. He won't give you an inch, but when he does, he makes sure that he is only an inch and not a mile. As Micah around the outside, still side by side through turn 4, and Patterson still holding on. He's going to have the inside line, and that's going to be critical as Micah hits the wall. Maybe not damage there, but that's definitely going to make these drivers hopefully calm down a little bit. Micah going wide, and that's not great for his chances, but he still has the slipstream, and he's done it before. He's going to try it again, but that's a penalty that he's got going wide there.
Yeah, track limits. He was too wide, and he's now got a drive-through penalty to deal with. Nevertheless, he's still going to try and go around the outside of Patterson through 9 and 10. He's still there on the inside at the apex. Patterson's been run out of road now, and Micah does go through, but this P3 will not stand. He's definitely going to have to take that drive-through. So Micah in the wars, and he is definitely going to drop, well, probably all the way down to around P15 here, if Magnussen's anything to go by. But yeah, he was just run out of room a little bit through kind of turn 3, turn 4. Patterson left him just enough, but Micah trying to push too hard into the back straight there, and it's cost him.
Yeah, these drivers, I think a lot of them, early race chills and early race sort of shakes, not quite understanding that, yeah, they should probably back off sometimes, and they do need to make sure that they're not going wide, as the penalty system in Melbourne, it will not let up. It will give you severe, well, penalty points, we say. It's not actual license points, but it's sort of how the system works with R factor, and it's ruthless. It will give you a lot of points for just one infraction, and that's Micah proving it. It's the same with Magnussen. They've both got penalties this race, and it's just strange to see so many drivers being so sort of reckless in some ways with their driving. This is Oliver Taras on the back of James Knox, and we might just be about to see another move into turn 9.
These two have been kind of in the wars in this whole race, really. A bit of an up and down one for both of them. Calmer heads over the course of a season should prevail. But these two side by side, in fact, James Knox just lets him have that position. That's probably the most sensible thing James Knox has done this race, actually, to be fair. Very, very quick driver, James, but yeah, he's definitely made one or two too aggressive moves. He'll learn. This experience will come. But Taras moves up into P13, and in front of them is Sharka and Bell. Bell in P11 at the moment for Smile Power. Interestingly, Bakuinov and Ribbley are very close together for P5 and P6. In fact, they're going to be side by side as they head towards turn 1. And Bakuinov has not quite got enough there, but the Hooked Performance Engineering driver showing much better in race 2. This has worked out a lot better for him. And Ribbley has, although it's been consistent from him in the opening couple of rounds, he's not had the overall pace that a couple of the other drivers have had. Ockenhaug is now dropped off a long way from Parker, so it looks like this is Tom Parker's to lose. He's just got to coast to the finish from here pretty much. But these three drivers, Patterson, Ribbley, Bakuinov, this is definitely a battle to watch out for. Other than that, we've got Taras and Sharka close behind Mike Bell, who's forming another train. But those are the two kind of squabbles on track.
Yes, Micah's going to be serving that penalty very soon, so you have to remember, this P6 is going to quickly turn into P5, and I'm not just on about the move that's almost happening here. Actually, looking sort of around the outside, not there, and very well held at that little slide on the exit, but he's lost time. But this is close. Oliver Sharka, Oliver Taras, and Mike Bell leading these two, but behind, he'll be looking in his mirrors and he'll be watching this thinking, wow, I'm glad that's not me, but it might be on the next lap. But Sharka holding his own on Oliver Taras and not doing what Knox did and just letting him pass, but suddenly battling tooth and nail in that 0-1 esports car.
Yeah, the German ahead of the English driver there, so Oliver Sharka versus Oliver Taras, and presumably Oliver, I don't know how to say it in German. But Sharka currently ahead, although Taras does want to make that position back up as we head onto the final lap of the race. And Tuomela has got a penalty somehow, despite being 3.5 seconds behind Lattinen, has managed to pick up a drive-through penalty for track limits, which is, you know, you've got to just be more careful. If you've got a huge gap in front of you, you're not really pushing that hard, just be more careful. And unfortunately, the KV86 drivers have not had the best of races, and Tuomela now has to serve his drive-through, and I'm not sure how he's going to do that considering we're on the last lap. So it would be 30 seconds added to his time, which is going to drop him miles back down the field. So Tuomela, his best bet is to finish the race, and then it would have an automatic 30 seconds added to his race time, I believe. If he goes through the pits, it won't count, and it'll still add the 30 seconds. So he needs to stay out on track. But this is the battle for third. I don't think Patterson's going to lose that in the last couple of corners, so we can head to Tom Parker, who I'm sure will be overjoyed to take Scuderia Cap Clay's first race victory of the season, his first victory in FS2 this season as well. Of course, race 2 goes to him. Ockenhaug for Optiminal in P2. P3 goes to Patterson Ribbley in P4 with Vakunov and Lahtinen. Tuomela has pitted, and that is going to drop him all the way out the points, unfortunately for him. Tuomala comes through, Micah through as well. And Tuomela thinks he's doing the right thing, but he isn't. Unfortunately, mate, you're going to drop all the way out the points once you've crossed the line. And that has happened to him. Sharka, P11, Taras. Ooh, Taras is in the pits as well as Knox. Okay, they've already pressed escape, that'll be why.
Yeah.
I got scared for a second. I thought they were all doing last-minute drive-throughs, which is not a good idea. But yeah, Tuomela, he unfortunately, it didn't work for him. And KV86 are going to get 1 point through Magnussen.
Yeah.
Not
That's
ideal.
Replays. Finally.
Right, come on then, Alex. Lots happened here. Let's try and remember.
Luca Gray, lap 1.
Yeah, so he was a very early retirement. Ooh,
That'll do it.
Yeah, he is a lucky boy not to take someone else out there. Oh, this is what happened to Taras. This will be interesting, Alex.
Yeah, we didn't actually get to see what happened to Oliver Taras, but oh dear, that's going to be an after-race penalty, I think. Magnussen.
Yeah, well, was it Magnussen or Tuomela? I didn't see.
It was 7. So Magnussen. So that's going to be 0 points potentially.
Yeah,
for KV86 after such a
it depends if he gets
race.
reported for that. If I'm Taras, I'm reporting that though, because championship rivals and all that. So here's Tahir Ahmed, who had a troublesome debut. Again, nothing he can do.
Why.
What can you do there? Poor
Just...
Ahmed. Can we see that one slightly different angle or something? Is this the same one? Yeah. So here's Travinsky down the inside of one of the Smile Powers. And there's a spin.
Yeah.
Oh dear, Travinsky.
I don't see that.
Oh, it's Vicentijevic who looped.
Yeah.
So just too much apex speed, too much power. What?
This is just different.
Mahalo, that is chaos. You can't do that, mate. That is ridiculous.
And he survives.
Can we watch the onboard from Mahalo? I want to see his throttle input on the exit of 3 because it was strange. It was almost like he was slow. You can see the green bar in the bottom right. It was almost like he was slow to get back on the power.
Yeah, it just...
Yeah, he is. What is he doing? And then that's terrible driving.
Yes.
From Mahalo Vicentijevic, I'm afraid. Why was he not on the power? What's he waiting for?
Christmas? That's just...
Oh, Dix has just put that in the wall, unfortunately, all by himself. That is a very bent steering column as well. Yeah, that's very spent. Yeah, see you later. I'm really cross about Vicentijevic there. I'm sorry. That was terrible driving. Lahtinen then here, side by side with Tuomela. Or is this... Yeah, Tuomela.
Oh, that's a spin. That could be another penalty.
Well...
That it's probably more of a racing incident.
Okay, well,
wow.
What was that brief? Yeah, okay, it was his own fault, I think, Lahtinen there. I think he just too much curb. But this is chaos from the priority one. What a move that is
well avoided.
To dodge, yeah. Through goes Bell and Yunt, of course.
Is this Taras's move, or is this... I think this is hitting a curb again.
This is the sausage in it and then bouncy wide. Yeah, we saw this.
Very lucky to not clip that outside barrier and almost goes into the sidewall as well. Yeah,
at the time we were like, has he put it in the wall? Very close. Tuomela hit then here into turn 3, side by side in front of us.
Yeah, was this his spin?
Yeah.
No, so him getting collected by Knox.
Yeah, so this is Knox throwing it down the inside of Ribley, and just there was literally 2 corners before I said like Knox needs to just calm down a little. And this is how Ockenhau dropped off the. Okay.
Or not.
Oh, that's it. No. Okay. Fine. Cool. There we go. Well, thank you for watching, everyone. That was race 2. So to run down the results of that, because we actually didn't do that, Tom Parker won from Magnus Ockenhaug. Craig Patterson was P3, Ribley P4, Vakunov P5 for Performance Engineering, Ladnan P6, David Yunt 7th, and Mikhail Tumala 8th for Cap Clay. 9th was Micah, 10th, Mike Bell. And then points down to 15th was Sharka, Taras, Tormella, James Knox, Dexter, and that was it, actually, because Magnussen was 16th, even though it says he was 15th. Oh, because there's 2 13th places. And then, weirdly, there's also a 17th twice. You have to kind of ignore these numbers. It's always a little bit bugged. But Morris Teichmann, Hutt, Karala, Alice Stone, Vicentievich, Gillett, Sokolovsky, Golda, Chavinsky, Dix, Hayek, and Giesinger. I've missed a couple out there. We've obviously got Golda and Tawhid Ahmed, who also DNF'd. And finally, Luca Gray.
So that's 8 DNFs, and those were all on lap 1.
Yeah,
lap
it was.
2.
There was certainly first couple of laps. There was a lot of problems in those first couple of laps, and you got my eye on a couple of drivers from that. That was some pretty rubbish driving. Right, we will go to interviews momentarily, but first we'll talk about the next round, which is in 2 weeks' time from today, 19th of March. We will be heading to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, which is a fast-flowing track with walls close to the track, which means that there'll be lots of incidents in FS2.
Yeah. More than today. Also, I've just noticed it says Azerbaijan, but...
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and
nice.
2023.
We're certain it's 2024, guys. But we will later in the season. Azerbaijan is where we'll go to. But next is Jeddah. But thank you guys for tuning in. We will go to. Do you see that change then? Beautiful. Thank you for doing so, Vincent. So interviews, and I think I want to speak to Tom Parker first, if that's okay, everyone.
Probably
so
not.
Tom, hello, welcome.
Hello.
Hello. How do you feel?
Dumbfounded, if I'm honest. I don't know. I don't know how I did that.
Well, it helps to start on pole, of course.
Yes.
And Formula Sprint 2 does, of course, allow that as an opportunity. But I can't remember the last time you won a race.
I won a race in FS2 last season towards the back end. Yeah, I can't remember what it was towards the back end. Oh, do you know what? Funnily enough, I said in the voice chat, and I said, the last time I started from reverse pole was Nürburgring last season, FS2, and I won. I said, that ain't going to happen today.
Oh, yeah, Japan last season, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But no, yeah, that was I was saying, just saying to Magnus in the open chat like that, I've never had to concentrate so hard on hitting my marks in my life. That was difficult, especially after race 1. I've just had no pace. It's not been the best to practice leading up to the race, but I mean, yeah, it just seemed to go. I think it was one of those ones that you'll appreciate this. All my years of experience, I really had to use there. So yeah, it was a tough one, but I'm buzzing. I am buzzing.
I'm sure you are, mate. I'm sure you are. 2010, Tom Parker joined GPVWC. Some people in the community have been born after that. So
that's worrying.
Yeah, so technically 2009, I joined at the back end, but yeah, right. 2010 for the career ladder.
Yeah. So Tom and me share the same problem of being in our 30s these days, but
yeah, we do.
Yeah, but fantastic. Well done, mate. Obviously, you had Ockenhaug behind you most of the race. Did you feel like you could hold on?
Yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, I had to hit my marks. I was really concentrated. I was checking the mirrors out of turn 1, out of the fast chicane, out of the first right after the fast chicane as well. Just every lap, because he was so much better on the brakes than me. And I just had to make sure he wasn't like close enough for a dive bomb. So I was really, really checking. But thankfully, it worked out. And obviously, I think he made a mistake on the second to last lap. And after that, I really just eased off in the last lap and a half just to make sure I got it over the line. But yeah, Magnus is definitely going to win a race this season. He's he leaves quick, and obviously I know he's really, really trying for that win. So I think he's definitely going to have a very good chance of winning one this year because he was putting him under constant pressure.
Alex, do you have any questions for Tom?
No, I was just lost listening about. But I do. Did you ever at any point feel as if there was a bit of relief for Mockenhaug? Like he dropped back a few seconds, but was that ever relieving, or were you still constantly in your head under pressure, like no mistakes, just get this through?
Yeah, so I think we have about 4 laps to go, maybe 5 laps to go. He made a mistake in turn 1, and I got a second on him. And I thought, okay, I've got a little bit of a gap now. And then I instantly made a mistake in the third last corner that lap. So I was like, right, okay, back to concentrating again. And then it wasn't until, like I said, the last lap and a half that he made that big mistake. I could finally really start to ease off in the fast corners just to make sure I got myself home. But like I said, it's like I said earlier, he's going to win a race. He just needs to cut out those tiny little mistakes. I think if he hadn't made that mistake at the end, he might have had a chance. So, I was definitely a bit of relief in lap 14 and a half.
Well done, Tom. That was your 369th race in GPVWC as a whole. Just so you know, and it was your 11th race win ever.
I'm actually surprised it's not that many. I think a lot of them have been FS2.
Don't put yourself down. Like a race win's a race win, mate. And but yeah, 369 races you've competed in GPVWC. People like you is what keeps the community together. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you guys. I'm looking forward to watching the stream back.
It's a lot of fun actually. I think we had a lot of fun today. So yeah, have fun.
Excellent.
All right, thank you, Tom Parker. Right.
Thank you.
Bye. Right, so let's speak to someone else. Who do you want to speak to, Alex? It's your turn to choose.
Oh, I'm interested to hear what Craig Patterson has to say.
Let's speak to Craig Patterson then. So, Craig, welcome to the comm box. Alex has a couple of questions for you. I've got a couple of questions for you. So, Alex, fire away.
Craig, good race too.
Yeah.
You started P2, but you fought your way back after. I don't know what happened. Did you make a mistake or?
I let basically I've been struggling for a little bit of pace build up to this race. Optimals have been a little bit quicker, so I thought instead of fighting to keep Magnus behind, let him go after Tom. Hopefully something would have happened there, but nothing did. And yeah, it was just all about trying to keep P3. Obviously, when Mateus got past Riboli, that was tough. Obviously, I ended up losing out to that, but little I didn't know that he actually had a drive-through. So yeah, it was just trying to keep a podium and just trying to start off better than I did last year.
That's good to hear. P3 is always a great result, but yeah. And race 1, that was chaotic. How did you find that?
Bit lonely. Oh, I would say tough. tough to keep up with other drivers and tough to keep some of the quick ones behind. But yeah, it's first race, points on the board, better than last season. Next race, look to improve.
I think top 10s is what keeps the championship ticking over, and obviously P9 and P3 today. You must, obviously maybe you don't have the right pace, but the way that the championship works with the reverse grids and so on, it does mean it keeps you competitive, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, so can't wait to next race, and obviously got 2 weeks to try and find a little bit more pace, especially in quali and definitely in race pace. The other teams are a bit too quick at the moment, so we need to work on that.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Craig.
Right,
thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Right. Let's do a Toby random person. Let's speak to. I was going to choose Eunice Corrala, but he's put Eunice Corrala don't as his name. Don't move me is his name, so he obviously doesn't want to speak to us. Who should we pick? Let's pick Magnus Ockenhaug, shall we?
Sure.
Magnus, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Fantastic. You were race 1 P8.
Yes.
But obviously race 2 nearly managed to steal the win. puts you in like a decent championship position. Obviously, you've got to keep these. I was just saying to Craig, keep these top tens ticking over, and it develops into a full season. Then, I mean, surely,
Yeah.
you know, for Optiminal, you've just got to keep ticking over and stay in the hunt.
Yeah, like we all know that FS2 is all about consistency. So as long as you stay inside top 10 consistently, it's gonna pay off in the end. So it doesn't matter if you're the fastest; you just need to survive. But that's my mindset, at least for the start of the season, and then we see what happens mid-season.
Yeah, I mean, the tracks coming up are all kind of a bit different and weird. I think Jeddah's are very much on its own. Do you have any kind of favorite tracks coming up?
I have bad memories from Jeddah last year, but I'm looking forward
Oh,
to Montreal and then Spa, obviously. Like, I was quite decent there last year, and also Singapore. I want to redemption myself from my, whatever happened last year, and then turn it into a deserving victory, hopefully.
You're I believe, the only Norwegian in FS2.
Josh Sovik, like, I guess he'd race it part-time.
Yeah. He's obviously not here today, and he's Scottish anyway. He doesn't count.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he's half Scottish. He sounds very Scottish. But yeah, what I was going to say, how is it with Ribley as your teammate? You know, do you guys get on well? Do you work together well as a team in Optiminal? Dzeo is obviously Dutch. You've got Ribley's from Italy, and you're Norwegian. It's a very European team.
Yeah, like, I feel ever since me and Messi started to cooperate together, like late last year, like, I feel like the teamwork has been brilliant. Like, we learned to, like, I learned things from him, he has learned things from me, and together we put it together in like a total package.
Nice. That's good to hear. It's really nice to hear, actually. Thanks, Magnus. Alex, do you have any questions for
I have
Magnus?
nothing to say.
Standard. Okay, no worries. Thank you, Magnus. Look forward to seeing you at the next round, probably with some helmet tweaks, I'd imagine.
Yeah, most likely. I'm probably gonna run a few special elements during the year, so watch me go full metal style.
Oh,
Fireproof,
fantastic! I can't
hopefully.
wait. I can't wait to do them all for you.
Yeah, I already have one planned for Imola, so just wait and see.
Nice. Right, cool. Right, speak to you soon. Thank you, Magnus.
Yeah.
Right, I think we'll leave it there, actually, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Alex, final thoughts on the opening round of FS2?
That was a shake-up from last year. I think Luke Mitchell himself said it. The first race we've had a Mitchell Mom or Mitchell winner, which is just it's a bit of a nice change and new faces at the top, and it's definitely going to be an interesting title fight as no team really seems to be on top heading towards round 2 in Jeddah.
I agree, actually. It's a nice mixed bag. Quick thank yous. So thank you very, 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 very much to Ed Hunter for putting a fantastic intro video together that we showed at the start of the broadcast. I know we put a lot of work and time into that, so thank you to Ed. Big thanks to Vincent Gutt, who has been talking to us silently in the background. Oh no, how can you talk silently? He's been talking to us, but you can't hear him in the background on cameras today. So Vince has done a great job. He's been the one pressing all the buttons on the cameras. So thank you, Vince. And Alex, thanks for joining. Really, really appreciate you joining. And finally, Chris Williamson. I know I said it earlier, but he does such a good job for GPVWC. It doesn't get enough thank yous as far as I'm concerned. So thanks, Chris. But thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you in 2 weeks' time for FS2. Don't forget, Formula Sprint 1 is in 2 days' time on Thursday. Also at Melbourne, this is the first of 4 rounds. Actually 5, because Academy's on Monday. Next Tuesday will be Super Lights, and then finally Super League the Thursday afterwards. That is the top championship that we have here at GPVWC. But until then, thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.